Thank you so much for watching this video, everybody, and I'd like to take this time to thank all of my very special Patreon supporters. My Patreon page is in a link in the description with YouTube's ad boycott and everything going on. These guys are unbelievably generous, and they've all helped keep the show alive. And if you'd like to contribute anything at all, then please head to the description below and have a look. It would mean a million times more than I could possibly feasibly describe to anyone that decides to have a look at the page, let alone donate to it. So thank you so much to each and every one of these people. You're helping keep the show alive in some of YouTube's darkest times. I mean, I'm sure you've heard from all different kinds of content creators. It is getting difficult now. It's really getting difficult. At the end of this video, there'll be a link to the page, or you can go in the description. You don't have to do anything. It's optional, but it would mean a lot to me if you did. And there's some little benefits in there for you all as well if you do decide to donate. Even just $1 a month is enough for me to thank you to the high heavens and back. Just a small amount like that would really, really benefit the show and help keep it going. And that's all I gotta say. Thank you so much. Again, thank you. Hello. Did you know that when I was younger, I loved Rugrats so much that I used to dress up as Tommy Pickles? Yes, at about 7 years old, I'd run around the back garden in a bright blue shirt and white underwear pretending it was a nappy. I haven't got any pictures of this, but I did want to leave that image in your head before this video began. Okay, bye-bye. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not things deserve to be slaughtered or salvaged. And I'm sure that a few of you have noticed recently that I've been very subtly including a particular soundtrack from a particular game in a few videos recently. And yes, this was signifying that I was indeed making a video about Rugrats. Such fu roop 2. Yes. I'm sure there's a few of you out there that remember a long time ago. Wow, time really has flown. That I made a video about a stupid little game for kids with a passion for fashion, Totally Angelica, or since she is so horrible and not deserving of her birth name, Totally Fanny. As far as Rugrats goes, my opinion has not changed on it whatsoever since then. It's one of my favourite animated shows of all time, so fun and happy and chilled and subtle and clever and grandpa! 15 miles! And there were lots of tie-in video games about the series, but of course there was the original classic game that started it all for that little publishing company known as Thick Hairy Quackers and their future metric fuck ton of Rugrats related video games, Rugrats The Search for Reptar on PS1. This was made for children, apparently. The game begins and we get a classic jingle. Nick, Nickelodeon! Oh yes, look at them wiggle. And we see the developers of this masterpiece, N-Space, which of course stands for nobody's heard of you, so please move out the way and leave me some space. Oh, look at this cuteness. Who would have thought that jumping from a 2D intro to an extra dimension in 3D would turn out worse? We were so young and innocent back then, we could never have known. I mean, why didn't they just use an FMV from the show? Isn't that why this game was on a 715 megabyte behemoth Sony PlayStation compact disc in the first place? Oh dear, here we go. It's coming. Wait for it. And... I just mentioned babies and come together in the same context. I'm so sorry, I'll never do that again. And the babies will never know that this is where they all started. Okay, that's enough. Ah, the music, the logo, the classic voices. Hang on, what? Who are these imposters? I don't remember that episode of Rugrats.
I don't think this is such a good idea.
Sure, whatever, let's move on. Look, I know you're a PS1 game and your load times are longer than the average poo, but you cannot pull this imitation of the cartoon episode intros, yet hang on the title for way too long after that closing descending glissando. If you're just gonna miss your cue, then don't do it at all, it's embarrassing. And while you're at it, if your Reptar bar collection sound effect is supposed to go, then please make sure it does it all of the time and doesn't bust its nut too early, like... Alright, now, I know I made fun of the obvious downgrade of the intro cinematic from paper to polygons, but I'd be lying out of my arse if I said it wasn't brimming with effort. Who else would even bother trying to recreate the magic of the show within their own game engine when they could have just taken an FMV, especially for a licensed game? Not only is everything done in-engine, but it is using every corner of the PS1 capabilities it can to be as faithful to the classic cartoon as it possibly can be in 3D. The models admittedly are just right and not too shabby for the time. All of the original voice actors are here, the music is either taken from or created from the ground up exactly how it is in the show, And if any kind of licensed game deserves any recognition for being actually bang on to its source material and actually creating new depth to the universe of the show by letting you play through it in new ways as well as appreciate how it looks, Search for Reptar is the game that deserves it, especially for the time. Even the hub world to access all of the levels is the Pickles house, but it isn't just a menu-style level selector, and it doesn't have portals all in one place or anything. It's just the Pickles house to scale that you can explore entirely just like it was taken straight from the show. The Pickles house on PS1 I feel will go down in history alongside the fucking Spencer Mansion for being one of the most memorable and atmospheric houses in all video gamedom. In fact, it may even be scarier than the Spencer Mansion. Look, it even has a basement. It's crafted purely and charmingly from love, and mixing it with the music and original voices and the fact that you can interact with most objects in the house like a piano or a guitar makes it feel exactly like you're playing within an episode of the show. And funnily enough, I say that, but the levels in the game are actually based off of episodes in the show. What a coincidence. I mean, this game doesn't have a specific genre. It's got platforming, action, collecting, bosses, mazes, searching for items and solving puzzles, even a crazy golf mini game. It's the royal variety show of kids licensed PS1 games. And yeah, it's a kids game, so none of these are actually that difficult at all. Don't let that bright red hard text put you off. But they are all mechanically sound and thematically make sense with the gameplay you experience depending on which episode of the show you play as a level. You know, Ice Cream Mountain is a golf course, so let's go and play golf. Angelica wants to steal our cookies, so let's run around, eat them all, and then pass the box around before she grabs them. Mr. Friend is an evil robot toy, so it's a boss fight that we need to destroy. We need to escape from Grandpa and find some Reptar cereal in a supermarket, so let's explore, platform around, and find that shit. You are always doing something different in these levels and controlling another character from the show. And yes, it's easy, don't get me wrong, but it's so cool how diverse it is for the gameplay, as well as the episodes they choose to base the levels on. It's just a shame that the controls are fucking wank. And the camera is fucking wank. Oh my lord, what happened here? I get it, this is a kid's game, but I'm sure that kids can figure out two shoulder buttons can move your camera around a 3D space. Here you have no camera control at all other than this utterly useless drunken fumbling as you slant the camera to the left and to the right, and it does nothing but make me feel ill. And yeah, I guess you can hit R1 to recenter it behind you, but because this game has tried very hard to make you feel like a baby in a big scary world, the levels are mostly rooms and corridors in which recentering never works at all anyway and just gets stuck on your face instead, leading to so many instances of smacking your stupid baby on every conceivable surface and certainly reconstructing the bones of their faces for adult development. Oh yeah, and I nearly just forgot about the controls for a second despite me mentioning them a second ago. You haven't escaped me that easily, I'm on the ball. Yes, again, the game is really easy. Christ, I finished it entirely in about an hour, but that still doesn't mean the controls to do that with are good. With the level design being mostly ordinary places made much bigger for the sake of baby sizes, with that does mean a lot of extremely slow and awkward climbing. Jesus H. Christmas! And some of the worst jumping and platforming controls I've ever used. You need to run up for the best possible distance, but not necessarily the best height. You get that by being a bit slower, but not standing still. And too many gaps and jumps are too long and high and give you no room for any run-up, so you can expect to fail all the time, especially if you accidentally jump at the slightest angle at the same time as moving forward, where you'll either fly off as fast as Usain or plummet off to the side like a sack of carrots. Even to this day, I still have no idea how the jumping works. The physics and rules seem to change with every jump, best demonstrated with Spike in the Goose Chase or the Circus stage. I don't approach these jumps or hit the buttons any differently, yet it's never the same jump. Luckily though, you're never placed in fatal situations and bottomless pits, so again, it's not that big of a deal, but it's still a pretty shit aspect of the game when it decides not to work 100%, and if it wasn't fun to play or nostalgic as hell for me, I'd rate it a lot harsher. But yeah, like I said, I beat this entire thing in under an hour. It's not that difficult at all. If anything, I find it quite fun, actually. All of the levels are very memorable, and there's enough difference in gameplay where it never feels boring at all, and that's quite a big thing to say, especially for a game meant for really, really young children. So I can't criticize it that much. I mean, come on, really young children and video games coming together usually spells, well, total cocking disaster. So you need to give credit where it's due, and at least Rugrats Search for Reptar does not treat its audience like idiots. The main objective of the game is finding 12 Reptar puzzle pieces to complete Tommy's lost jigsaw, and you do that by completing the levels disguised as hidden objects around the house and getting one jigsaw piece for every 15 Reptar bars you find hidden in those stages. It sounds like it'll take a long time, but no, it doesn't. In fact, I found 12 puzzle pieces while missing 5 stages on my first run, but you need a certain amount to access each higher difficulty stages from medium to hard. Once you've played around 3 easy stages though, you'll be absolutely fine to access any other level in any order you want to, so if you're a kid that can't do a level, no worries, the game is still beatable. And you know what? Let's go through all of them, one by one. Just for a laugh. Chucky's glasses sees you playing hide and seek around the house and racing the babies that you find back to the playpen, and Chucky doesn't fuck around here. Tell my family I love them! Oh, well, apparently Phil and Lil also don't fuck around. They aren't moving back to the playpen. Oh yeah, don't you also love it when the backing music duplicates over itself on an ending cutscene?
I don't feel so good.
Yeah, I don't either, Fanny. Coin Rush is a bonus game to win 3 Reptar bars and you just run around picking up coins. It's fast-paced and fun enough, not much else to say. Much like Egg Hunt, which is the same story except with this horrid noise every time you pick up an egg. Ice Cream Mountain, the golfing level. Lots of fun, this one. Not as much fun as Stu's walk in the intro, though. For young people, the stages aren't too easy and the controls are precise enough. But one thing that always petrified me as a kid was in one of Chucky's courses, because whenever you head to the edge of the lowest part of the course, this noise happens. What is that? Who's coming to get me? Oh man, do I get a chance to crush Fanny's head in the castle gate? Yes, oh yes, that feels good, you fucking Fanny! One thing awesome in this Egyptian Fanny golf course is not only that this public crazy golf company uses the likenesses of all of the Rugrats babies on all of the pillars, someone needs to call the authorities, but also because you can actually find a super secret underground pyramid maze for lots of Reptar bars. Problem is though, I'm completely fucking lost now. Where am I going? Christ, what do I do? Where do I go? Wait, what's that noise? Where do I go? What was that noise? Where's the exit? Oh my pants, what is that? Weird side note as well, I remember that this was the very first game that taught me how to bounce balls off of angles. Just like in crazy golf games specifically. And I know, it's lame, but that's a memory I always have of this game. Bonus level, you need to eat the cookies and pass the box to other babies to stop Fanny from getting them first. But yeah, this footage is giving the minigame a lot of credit. It's not really that exciting when you can just stand still, hit the eat button, then hit another button to auto-throw it to someone else and then just throw it back without even moving. Yeah. Alright, so Mr. Friend was hiding in the basement, not Lisa Trevor. Okay, maybe he's a little bit scarier. Let's smash him up. Another bonus level, Mirrorland. Run around, look for boxes in a totally upside down version of the house, which is really fucking cool, and then pop all of the balloons that appear from the boxes. Well, I say pop them. You can't pop this one though, it's very special. Grandpa's teeth is horrifying. You go through a maze-like park trying to find Grandpa's teeth stolen by Spike the dog, but as you run around there are geese! Sorry, geese are scary, and this game personifies total goose phobia. I suppose that way it feels very good though to then chase one of the geese down and then kill it with licorice. The Aisle 7 stage is pretty awesome. You need to explore a supermarket looking for Reptar cereal. There's multiple paths, lots of awesome obstacles and visual details like the fruit flying everywhere when you run through it, pie throwing, slippy sliding on melted ice and washing up liquid, lobsters to avoid, a boss battle against a giant lobster you need to stun and then zip away on a conveyor belt right in front of the best-selling cereal. My god, I'm Google reviewing this supermarket 3 stars. It needs a lot of improvements. Another bonus level now, which is exactly the same as the cookie one, except with you needing to drink liquid shit. Yes, it's liquid shit. How do I know that? Because your health bar in some stages is piss. Yes, piss. What else could it be? It's piss and plops. It's obvious. Another stage arrives in the form of Spike looking for Fanny's doll Cynthia in the sewers and getting diseased by walking around in yet again more shit. It hurts you, yeah, but it's way easier to actually just jump in, catch the plague, jump out, and then find more health than it is to do those terrible jumps over to the wooden boxes and wooden planks with the terrible camera and jumping controls. Not to mention it's faster, but maybe Spike is going a little bit too fast here. Spike, remember you can't have puppies anymore, you're snipped. Toy Palace is pretty fun too. Not only do you get to escape a dark and empty toy shop and jump in a ball pit, but also check out this bit where you have to find boxes and bring them back to an animatronic Reptar in order to climb the switch to turn him on. It's very cool, and I don't mean turn him on in that way either. And yeah, the platforming isn't great, but it's not too hard and very visually interesting at least. And then Thorg wants eats, so I crap out of my mouth. Circus Angelica, also known as Circus Fannius, a selection of 3 mini-games as Fanny puts on a circus show. Spike jumps for bones, Chucky needs to be launched onto leaves, and Phil and Lil trike around an obstacle course before jumping over a paddling pool. Hilariously, there's a speedometer for some reason. Look, there's only like 2 speeds though, and somehow you can jump around while on the trike. What am I even looking at? The trike is alive. Time to race Fanny to the kitchen and get the cookies before she does. This sounds like fun, but Tommy would rather die than let Fanny win. Cookies! Now this level used to scare me, believe it or not. The outer space one when you need to attack these things. They creep me out. I don't know why.
You talking to me?
You talking to me?
You talking to me?
It also doesn't help trying to explore this space station fighting these creepy things while the frame rate falls over and farts and Fanny runs around like a totally deranged muppet. None of this helps. Look at her go. Now this level I never finished when I was a kid. Yes, it scared me that much. Unbelievably, in Let There Be Light, these shadow monsters were just too much for me. I knew it. This is the Spencer Mansion. Look at them. Seriously, I was scared of this once. One hit, dead, but it was still too much for me. I was such a sensitive soul.
I'm too little to open it by myself.
Tommy, what the fuck are you talking about? You're pitiful. Oh yeah, don't worry, Tommy. Just go and get that Reptar bar and get stuck behind the dog hut. It's not like I have things to do. No, you just stay there and live with the dog, you fucking animal. And finally, the last level, Reptar 2010, is awesome. A fantastic reward for any kid finishing the game. All you do is get through a city, smashing up everything. Stomping, jumping, breathing fire. It's fucking ace, especially if you're a fan of the show. Look, you can even destroy the offices of THQ. Just like how the company are now. I must say as well, Jim's garage missed a trick there. Why didn't Jim open a gym? Then he could have had Jim's gym. Shitty camera and bad controls aside, however, this is a very, very decent kids game. So, do I give it the salvage? I'm not too sure. Yes, I do. And until next time, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.